The problem, cybercrime. When I say that the problem is how a business owner thinks, I'm not saying that it's all in your head. There are three distinct perspectives on the problem. Donald Miller states that the problem presents itself in three ways: external, internal, and philosophical. External threat number one: cyber criminals after your money, data, and resources. As we stated before, the cyber criminal is targeting the small business owner. We have the most money, we stand alone without being able to help each other, and most of us don't even believe we are at serious risk or can do anything about it. In addition, we think cybersecurity is a computer science problem and spend money on software and services before we figure out what we really need. Cybercrime is not a computer science problem. It is a behavioral science one. The problem is not your technology. The problem is your people and how those people use your technology. The vast majority of hacks that end up with the cyber criminal making money do not come from brute force cyber attacks over the internet. They come from email and social engineering of your people. Cyber criminals prey on your people and your people's beliefs around what compromises normal and appropriate behaviors. They appear exactly like what your people expect to see, so they can predict what your people will do, and then they set traps. This results in money wire transfers to fake accounts, giving critical information to perceived trusted sources, and the unintentional installation of malware and ransomware. External threat number two: large companies won't do business with you. In 2015, 33% of all hacks on large enterprises came through their supply chain. This means that the large enterprise hired a small business or contractor to do some sensitive task and allowed that vendor access to critical information or infrastructure. The hackers then attacked the vendor's weaker defenses and, through established trusts between that vendor and the large enterprise, stole money, data, and/or resources. A prime example of this is the Target hack in 2013. Target made a brilliant strategic move to address a customer comfort problem. They knew that if customers were uncomfortable in their stores, they would not stay long and would likely not return. They addressed this problem by installing HVAC systems in all of their stores to keep the temperature and humidity at optimum levels. The solution was expensive because the HVAC systems ran based off of manual configurations, and they were cooling when they didn't need to cool and heating when they didn't need to heat. Target made things better, but there was still room to improve. They looked for a better way. Enter the Internet of Things. Smart HVAC units were installed and attached to the store's networks. The total cost of ownership for controlling the environment inside of the Target stores dropped, and the overall customer experience improved. And best of all, their vendor, Train, could manage everything from the internet. The stores were cooled and heated when they needed to be, electricity spending went down, and it was all managed by someone else. Success for Target. Unfortunately, a few mistakes were made. Those smart HVAC controllers were installed on the same network as Target's point-of-sales cash registers. Cyber criminals were able to break into those HVAC controllers by attaining administrative usernames and passwords. Once those controllers were accessed, they were able to install software that then attacked Target cash registers, or point-of-sales, and began stealing credit card information. The result was that 40 million credit cards were stolen, resulting in over $150 million in damages directly to Target and a ripple effect of over $250 million in fraud for the financial industry. The kicker was that the CEO of Target ended up being fired. So, it is very important to large companies that the small businesses that they work with understand cybercrime and what to do about it. If they don't, the large company may no longer be able to do business with them. This is certainly true for the Department of Defense, or the DoD. On December 31st, 2017, Defense Federal Acquisition Regulation Supplement, DFARS, was put into place. This means that in order to do business with the Department of Defense, you must be able to communicate how you comply with the National Institute of Standard and Technology's Cybersecurity Framework, or NIST 800-171. This compliance is enforced by buying agents for the government and is now one of the many gates you have to cross just to be able to bid on a DoD contract. This compliance isn't just for the Lockheed Martins and IBMs of the world, it's for all of the vendors and all of the vendors' vendors. The entire supply chain for the Department of Defense is now required to be able to talk intelligently about cybersecurity. And as the government goes, the rest of corporate America will follow. If you have not bumped into this yet, it is only a matter of time. The internal problem. The external threat is real. No one actually ever denies that, but the external threats don't actually cause small business to act. If the threat is still there, then this means the hero's problem must be deeper. Here is the core reason why small businesses are horrible at cybersecurity. Small business owners are afraid of overspending, wasting time, and making costly mistakes. Think about it. The number one thing going on in a small business owner's mind is cash flow. Here's what's going through our hero's head. Will my customers pay me in time so I can pay everyone else? Will this happen often enough that I can start making profits? Will those profits be enough that I can reinvest in the company? Will those reinvestments cause my company to grow in value? Can I someday pull a bunch of money out of my company or sell it? The dance is often a harrowing one. I've personally had to empty retirement funds, taking the tax hit and penalties just to cover payroll. My name is on the line of credits that the bank issues, and I can only run out of money once in this game. So when it comes to deciding where am I going to spend my money, I look at sales and marketing and producing my product or service as efficiently as possible. Full stop. Everything else is a nice to have. When acting from a position of ignorance and journeying into the unknown, the small business owner doesn't have the confidence to place a bet on cybersecurity and sees the risk of spending money as something more risky than the mythical cyber monster boogeyman coming to steal their stuff. It is that internal belief that causes the external threats to be ignored or reframed. This isn't limited to cybersecurity spending. This is the thought process for every decision a small business owner makes. Is the time, effort, and risk of this new thing worth the value that it will bring to my company? If we can't answer that question clearly, small business owners do not take action. The philosophical problem. So why is it important for the external problem to be solved by our hero? Why not just give in to the internal problem and take no action at all? It's because it's about more than money. This is about right and wrong. This is about good and evil. This is about the hero versus the villain. Transformation doesn't come without defeating both internal and external monsters. Through hard work, sacrifice, and risk, the hero creates jobs, builds wealth, and carves out safe places in this wilderness for their employees. The villain, on the other hand, wants to skip the hard work, sacrifice, and risk and take by force, guile, and deception all that the hero has created. Business owners, I can't say this strongly enough. You cannot hide from this. They are coming after you, and they will disrupt your life until they get what they want, leaving ruin in their wake. How you approach this will determine what you look like after they attack.